Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I've got an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a gun and customization for me to use. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below letting me know what kind of weapon and accessories you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode. The top comment today comes from Kyrie Dunkelwasser, the Tactical Marksman. Primary is the M39 EMR, Coyote Red Dot Sight, 2x magnifier, angled foregrip, and suppressor. Secondary is the 1911 with a ghost ring suppressor and flashlight. Recon class, since I feel DMR should be played with the recon only. Both weapons use the spray urban camo. Gadget number 1 is sensor grenades. If playing rush, use the spawn beacon. Gadget number 2 is C4 and smoke grenades for making a distraction to get somewhere without being spotted. Specialization is up to you. Now I'm really happy that you guys upvoted a comment that has a lot of tactical potential but also isn't your standard assault rifle or carbine style loadout. The M39 EMR got a nice bump in the last patch. Its bullet velocity got bumped up so high that it went from being one of the slowest bullet velocities out of any of the DMRs at 570 meters per second up to 650 meters per second, making it the second fastest bullet velocity out of all the DMRs. This is going to increase its ranged effectiveness substantially. And unfortunately I can't really show that off to you in this video because the loadout does require a suppressor. Fortunately, the suppressed bullet velocity has been bumped up from 320 meters per second to 360 meters per second, making it slightly more effective. At longer ranges, you're not going to have much luck hitting moving targets, but at medium range, you should do alright. The overall side-to-side recoil has also been reduced since the last patch, so if you haven't played with the M39 EMR in a while, give it another try. Especially without the suppressor, this thing's going to be dropping people at longer ranges. And I did manage to get into one decent rush game. However, I was on the defensive side, so the spawn beacon didn't really come in handy much, so I ended up just using the motion sensor grenades. And as you can see here, based on the minimap, not only are they working out alright, but we are getting swarmed from every single direction. And we do manage to actually hold out the last MCOM. We flank over to the left side of the field and manage to clear off the entire left side flank, which allows our whole team to then switch back over and basically just demolish the right side flank. There's very limited cover in this map, and for very large rush game modes, the cover gets decimated very quickly and all of a sudden it gets very difficult for the enemy team to push up. Now normally my recommendation with this gun would be engage your targets at a distance. Medium to long range is preferred. However, because we are using a suppressor here, which not only lowers your bullet velocity, making long range targets a bit harder to hit, especially if they're moving, but it also keeps you off that mini-map, you are going to have an advantage at closer ranges if you sneak up on your opponents. Obviously in a straight-on gunfight, you're going to lose to most of the guns out there, so assault rifles, carbines, machine guns, all of those in a straight up gunfight at medium to close range, you're probably going to lose unless you get a little bit of a jump on your opponent. So basically, intel is the name of the game with this class. You want to know where your enemies are, you want to know which direction they're coming from, and you want to already be aiming down sights and ready for them when they peek their head over a hill or out from around a corner. And generally speaking, this is great advice for just about any weapon or any style of gameplay out there. However, if you're using a DMR or the M39 EMR, if you are the person to shoot second in a duel, you are almost guaranteed going to lose, so you can't be the person who starts shooting second. Now we switched over to a little TDM gameplay here, and I gotta say this is probably not the right setup for this map. I would definitely take the suppressor off for a map that is this big and this wide open. The problem being that you're gonna get spotted. There's not a lot of cover on this map. It's big, it's wide open, you're gonna get seen trying to run between cover, and you can really use that extra bullet velocity, especially now that it's 650 meters per second, allowing you to hit moving targets. So you're not going to have to prioritize your targets based on whether or not they're standing still or moving. The fact that your shots are going to pop you up on the minimap doesn't really matter too much because everybody seems to know where everybody else is. Now I got limited use out of the flip up 2x optic on here. I found that I needed to spam fire a little bit more with the M39 EMR. It is certainly a precision weapon, but if you can be precise with a 1x optic, then just go ahead with the 1x. Every now and then I'll flip it up to try and get some headshots at long range, but for the most part Battlefield 4 is so fast paced that you don't really have the time to flip up these optics on the fly. It would be kind of cool if they actually made the animation a little bit faster so you could just do it really quickly. Now I'm going to use a little bit of smoke here in a second. I didn't use the smoke extensively. I did find it quite useful actually for moving between cover. It seems to be a bit better now. In the instance that I'm going to use the smoke here, you're going to see me use it to actually lure enemies in and basically lure them into a kill zone. And And you'll see a lot of enemies around me now that aren't going to really be aware of my presence, and that's because I have a suppressor on. I'm shooting, they are not really turning towards me, and it gives me a lot of time to get kills that I otherwise probably wouldn't have gotten. So I threw the smoke down. People are running through the smoke. We've got a few spots through the smoke, and it clearly puts the enemy in a situation where I know how players think. They're going to get bored. They're going to see that smoke there. They're going to want to push in and expose themselves, and that's where I'm going to get the kills. Even now, you can see a lot of players not facing me, and frankly, not a lot of players knowing to actually turn over towards me to return fire, and it's what allows me to get so many of my kills. You're going to see me flank around now on Parasol Storm Team Deathmatch. This map is perfect for a suppressed weapon, and the M39 EMR is going to allow me to get behind enemy lines, basically not receive too much return fire, and just drop a lot of players that aren't really aware of my presence. Remembering to use your gadgets whenever possible, and especially when moving up to new locations. There might be an empty looking building, but let's be honest, Battlefield 4 is a game full of campers, so if there's an empty looking building, chances are somebody's in it. So throw that motion sensor ball there, figure out who's hiding there, and the best way to approach them. Now, I didn't really address the angled foregrip, but it makes a ton of sense on DMRs. Reducing that first shot recoil allows you to spam fire the weapon much more consistently, and that is very important in this game. You're not going to want to be going pow, pow, pow. You're going to be wanting to shoot that gun pretty much as fast as it possibly can, except for extreme long range shooting where you're trying to track in a target or go for a very specific headshot. Also, don't be afraid to be a sneaky bastard. Get into ruined buildings, start crawling around in the rubble with all those weird hitboxes that kind of screw everybody up. Learn those weird hitboxes, take advantage of them, and it'll make you a much better player. Players who run around out in the open in TDM are usually the ones who are getting killed all the time. So that pretty much wraps it up for this episode of Loadout. Don't forget to leave your comments down below letting me know what gun and accessories you'd like me to run with for next week's episode, and I'll see you guys next time. This is LevelCap signing off.